Good evening. Reading. Tonight, I want to talk about a subject that is both deeply personal and universally felt: a woman who carries pain and suffering throughout her life. We often see her walking through the world, shoulders straight, head high, but behind her strength lies a story that few know. She carries burdens that would break most, but she keeps going, not because it's easy, but because she must. Strength and vulnerability is one of the most misunderstood yet transformative qualities a person can embody. Society often teaches us to equate vulnerability with weakness, as though showing our struggles diminishes our worth or credibility. But in truth, vulnerability is where real strength lies. It's the gateway to authenticity, growth, and connection. To be vulnerable is to open yourself to the world, not knowing how it will respond. It means showing the cracks, the fears, the doubts, and the wounds. It's exposing your humanity in a way that feels raw and unprotected. That's not easy. In fact, it's one of the bravest things a person can do because it requires trust in yourself, trust in others, and trust in the belief that your worth is not diminished by your struggles, but elevated by your willingness to confront them. True strength is not about always having the answers or appearing invincible. It's about standing in the uncertainty, owning your story, and still choosing to move forward. A woman who embraces vulnerability refuses to let fear dictate her life. Instead, she uses her pain as a tool to peel back the layers of societal expectations and rediscover who she truly is. She says, "Yes, I've been hurt, but that doesn't define me. It refines me." When you embrace vulnerability, you create space for genuine connection. There's a unique power in saying, "This is me, unfiltered and real." It invites others to drop their guard and meet you in a place of authenticity. The connections formed in these moments are unshakable because they're built on truth, not pretense. Through this, vulnerability becomes not just a strength, but a bridge to understanding, empathy, and healing. Moreover, vulnerability is the birthplace of resilience. To be vulnerable is to acknowledge your pain, but it's also to refuse to be trapped by it. It's the courage to say, "I am hurting, but I'm healing. I am struggling, but I'm surviving. I am broken, but I'm rebuilding." Strength is not the absence of struggle, it's the persistence to grow through it. In embracing vulnerability, you begin to let go of the shame that often clings to your pain. Shame thrives in silence, but vulnerability shatters that silence. It says, "I am not my scars and I am not alone." And in those words lies a freedom that can't be found anywhere else, a freedom to live fully, to love deeply, and to dream again. So if you've ever felt that being vulnerable makes you less than, let me assure you it doesn't. It makes you more. It's the foundation of courage, the seed of empathy, and the spark of transformation. To stand in your vulnerability is to stand in your power. And that is strength in its purest, most beautiful form. Breaking the silence is an act of defiance against the weight of suffering and isolation. For too long, society has conditioned us to keep our struggles hidden, to wear a mask of composure even when we're drowning inside. We're taught that speaking up might make us appear weak or burden others with our pain. But the truth is, silence is the heaviest burden of all. It isolates us, feeds our shame, and keeps us trapped in cycles of hurt. When you break the silence, you reclaim your power. Speaking your truth isn't just an act of courage, it's an act of liberation. It's saying, "I will not let fear dictate my life. I will not let pain be my prison." In that moment, you shatter the walls that have kept you isolated and take the first step toward healing. Breaking the silence doesn't mean shouting your struggles from the rooftops. It can be as simple as confiding in someone you trust or putting your feelings into words for the first time. It's about acknowledging that your pain is real and that you don't have to carry it alone. It's giving yourself permission to be seen not as perfect, but as human. The act of speaking up also creates a ripple effect. When one person finds the strength to share their story, it encourages others to do the same. It reminds people that they're not alone, that their experiences matter, and that there's no shame in seeking help. Silence thrives in darkness, but truth brings light. It exposes the lies we tell ourselves, that we're unworthy, broken beyond repair, or too much for others to handle, and replaces them with the truth that we are deserving of love, support, and understanding. There's an undeniable power in vulnerability shared out loud. It builds bridges where there were once walls, creating spaces for connection and empathy. When you break the silence, you invite others to step into that space with you. You say, "This is who I am, and I'm not afraid to be seen," and in doing so, you show others that it's okay to do the same. Breaking the silence is also an act of rebellion against stigma. Whether it's cultural, societal, or personal, stigmas are built on fear and misunderstanding. They tell us to stay quiet about our struggles, to be ashamed of our mental health, our trauma, or our pain. But when we speak out, we challenge those stigmas head on. We say, "I will not be silenced. My story matters, and I am not alone." And for the woman who has carried her pain in silence for years, breaking it can feel like a release. It's not easy, in fact, it's one of the hardest things to do. But with every word spoken, the weight becomes lighter. The world doesn't always respond with understanding, but that doesn't diminish the importance of speaking your truth. Because breaking the silence isn't about the world, it's about you. It's about reclaiming your voice, your story, and your life. When you finally break the silence, you step into your strength. You transform your pain into purpose and your wounds into wisdom. And in that moment, you remind the world and yourself that silence is not strength. Strength is the courage to speak, to heal, and to rise. Society's expectations often act as an invisible force, shaping how we live, what we believe, and how we perceive ourselves. For women, these expectations can feel especially heavy, demanding that we conform to predefined roles and ideals that often leave little room for individuality or imperfection. They tell us how to behave, what to prioritize, and even how to process our pain. And in doing so, they can silence, stifle, and burden us in ways that go unnoticed by those who impose them. From an early age, women are taught to prioritize the needs of others, to nurture and to maintain harmony, often at the expense of their own well-being. Strength is measured not by how we advocate for ourselves, but by how much we endure in silence. We're praised for keeping it together no matter the circumstances, as though vulnerability or seeking help diminishes our worth. Society expects us to smile through our struggles, to make sacrifices without complaint, and to carry the weight of the world without faltering. These expectations extend to how we express our pain. Women are often judged harshly for showing emotion too much, and we're labeled as dramatic or weak too little, and we're seen as cold or detached. This double standard traps us in a space where we feel the need to perform strength instead of living authentically. The message is clear: our pain is acceptable only if it's invisible. But the truth is, these expectations are deeply unfair and damaging. They create an environment where women feel ashamed of their struggles, believing that to admit to pain or difficulty is to admit to failure. And this shame is compounded by societal pressures to achieve impossible ideals, whether it's being the perfect mother, the ideal partner, the tireless professional, or all of the above. These expectations don't just shape our behavior, they shape our identity, forcing us to measure our worth by standards we didn't choose and often can't meet. In the face of such expectations, it's easy to feel trapped. The fear of judgment or rejection can keep us from speaking our truth, seeking help, or stepping outside the roles we've been assigned. And yet, it's only by challenging these expectations that we can begin to reclaim our lives. Because the reality is, society's expectations are not immutable truths, they're constructs. They exist because we've been conditioned to accept them. But we can choose differently. Breaking free from these expectations requires immense courage. It means redefining what strength looks like, not as stoicism or self-sacrifice, but as authenticity and self-respect. It means allowing ourselves to feel, to struggle, and to heal in ways that are true to us, not dictated by others. It means rejecting the notion that our worth is tied to our ability to meet someone else's standards. And when we begin to challenge these expectations, we also begin to change them. By living authentically, we show others that it's okay to do the same. We create space for different narratives, ones where women are celebrated not just for their endurance, but for their honesty, resilience, and individuality. Society's expectations may be deeply ingrained, but they are not insurmountable. By recognizing them for what they are and choosing to live beyond their limits, we take the first steps toward a world where women are free to be exactly who they are. And in doing so, we not only liberate ourselves, but pave the way for others to do the same. The power of perseverance lies in its ability to transform adversity into triumph. It's the unyielding force that propels us forward, even when the path is unclear and the obstacles feel insurmountable. Perseverance isn't about having an easy journey, it's about continuing despite the difficulties, setbacks, and doubts that threaten to derail us. It's the quiet strength that says, I will not give up, no matter what. Perseverance begins in the mind. It's the decision to rise each time you fall, to keep moving even when progress seems invisible. It's understanding that growth isn't always immediate or visible, it often happens in the unseen moments when you choose not to quit. These choices, made in the darkest hours, define your resilience. They're a testament to your ability to endure, adapt, and overcome. Life will always test us. Pain, loss, failure, and rejection are inevitable. But perseverance isn't about avoiding these experiences, it's about learning from them and allowing them to shape you into someone stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Each challenge becomes a stepping stone, a lesson in your journey. The scars you carry aren't marks of defeat, they're proof of survival, of battles fought and won. Perseverance doesn't mean ignoring the pain or pretending it doesn't exist. It's about embracing it, understanding that pain is often a sign of growth. Just as muscles tear and rebuild through exercise, our inner strength is forged in the fires of hardship. Perseverance allows us to sit with discomfort, to face our fears, and to move forward despite them. What makes perseverance powerful is its ability to inspire transformation not just in ourselves, but in those around us. When we persevere, we send a message to the world that determination can overcome despair, that resilience can conquer fear, and that hope can outlast the heaviest of storms. Our perseverance becomes a beacon, lighting the way for others who are struggling to find their own strength. Perseverance also teaches patience. In a world that demands instant results, it reminds us that meaningful progress takes time. Success is rarely a straight line, it's a winding road filled with detours, setbacks, and delays. But with perseverance, we learn to trust the process. We understand that every small step, no matter how insignificant it seems, brings us closer to our goals. At its core, perseverance is about belief in yourself, in your purpose, and in the idea that things can and will get better. It's holding on to that belief even when the odds are stacked against you, when the world tells you to give up, and when it feels easier to stop trying. It's the inner voice that whispers, keep going. You are capable. You are strong. And perhaps the most beautiful thing about perseverance is that it builds upon itself. Each challenge you overcome strengthens your ability to face the next. Over time, what once seemed impossible becomes achievable, and what once broke you becomes the foundation of your strength. Perseverance doesn't guarantee an easy life, but it does guarantee a meaningful one. It allows you to face life's challenges with courage, to embrace its uncertainties with grace, and to pursue your dreams with unwavering determination. It reminds you that no matter how difficult the journey, the act of continuing is itself a victory. To persevere is to honor your journey, to believe in your ability to rise, and to trust that every step forward, no matter how small, is a step toward becoming the person you are meant to be. Healing through connection is one of the most profound ways we mend our wounds and rediscover wholeness. As human beings, we are wired for connection, for relationships that nurture, support, and remind us that we are not alone. Pain and suffering, however, often isolate us. They can create walls of fear, shame, or mistrust that keep us from reaching out. But it's through connection with others and with ourselves that true healing begins. When we connect with others, we open the door to empathy. Sharing our pain, even in small, hesitant steps, allows someone else to step into our world and say, I see you. I hear you. You're not alone. In those moments, the burden of our struggles becomes lighter because we're no longer carrying it by ourselves. The simple act of being seen and heard without judgment is often enough to ignite the first spark of healing. Connection isn't just about words, it's about presence. Sometimes the most healing moments come from sitting in silence with someone who understands, holding space for each other without needing to fill it with explanations or solutions. This kind of connection reassures us that our worth isn't tied to our ability to appear okay, but to our shared humanity. It reminds us that our struggles don't make us unlovable, they make us real. Healing through connection also allows us to find strength in community. When we connect with others who have walked similar paths, we discover a shared resilience that lifts us all. Support groups, friendships, and even casual conversations with people who understand our experiences remind us that we are part of something larger than ourselves. In these connections, we find hope that healing is possible, and that our pain doesn't define us. But healing through connection isn't limited to relationships with others. It also involves reconnecting with ourselves. Pain can often fragment us, leaving us disconnected from our emotions, our bodies, and even our sense of purpose. Taking the time to sit with ourselves, to listen to what our pain is telling us, and to nurture our inner world is an act of profound self-compassion. When we connect with ourselves, we begin to rebuild the trust and love that pain may have eroded. Connection is also a reminder of the power of kindness. A kind word, a warm hug, or even a smile can be a balm for someone who feels unseen. Acts of kindness, whether given or received, create ripples of healing. They remind us that even in our darkest moments, we are surrounded by the possibility of light. Healing through connection challenges the idea that we must fix ourselves alone. It shows us that strength isn't about self-reliance, but about embracing the support and love of those around us. It teaches us that asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, but a declaration of courage and hope. In connecting with others, we also open ourselves to different perspectives. We learn from their stories, their journeys, and their wisdom. This exchange of experiences helps us make sense of our own, reframing pain not as something to be feared, but as something we can overcome together. The beauty of healing through connection is that it creates a cycle. When we heal through the support of others, we often find ourselves in a position to offer that same support to someone else. Our pain transforms into purpose, our struggles into a source of strength for others. In this way, connection doesn't just heal individuals, it heals communities, creating a network of resilience and hope that lifts everyone involved. Ultimately, healing through connection is about remembering that we are never truly alone. It's about finding the courage to reach out, the humility to receive, and the love to give back. In connecting with others and ourselves, we find the strength to heal, to grow, and to rediscover the beauty of life, even after the deepest wounds. Redefining identity is a transformative journey, one that requires us to step away from the labels, expectations, and limitations that have been imposed on us. It's about reclaiming who we truly are, not who the world expects us to be. Life, with its challenges, changes, and losses, often forces us to confront the question, who am I now? The process of answering that question is both daunting and empowering, as it opens the door to self-discovery and growth. Identity is often shaped by the roles we play: daughter, mother, partner, professional, friend. These roles are meaningful, but they don't define the entirety of who we are. When life shifts, whether through trauma, change, or simply the passage of time, those roles may evolve or fall away, leaving us to grapple with what remains. Redefining identity means acknowledging that we are more than the sum of our titles or the expectations placed upon us. Redefining identity also means letting go of the narratives that no longer serve us. These narratives might be born from societal expectations, childhood conditioning, or the opinions of others. They might tell us that we're not enough, that we're defined by our failures, or that we must fit into a specific mold to be worthy. Breaking free from these narratives is an act of courage. It requires us to challenge deeply held beliefs and embrace the truth that our worth is inherent, not conditional. In this process, self-compassion is essential. Redefining identity is not about rejecting who we've been, but about honoring the journey that has brought us to this point. It's about saying, this is who I was, and that's okay, but I'm allowed to grow. I'm allowed to change. I'm allowed to become. This mindset shifts the focus from regret to empowerment, from self-criticism to self-acceptance. And connection plays a vital role in redefining identity. Surrounding ourselves with people who see us for who we are, not who they want us to be, provides the space to explore and embrace our authentic selves. At the same time, redefining identity often requires boundaries, learning to say no to relationships, environments, or expectations that stifle our growth. This process can be painful, but it's a necessary step toward living in alignment with our true selves. Redefining identity is also about exploration. It's about giving yourself permission to try new things, to discover passions, and to pursue dreams that may have been hidden or ignored. It's about embracing curiosity and viewing life as a canvas where you can paint a new picture of who you are. This exploration is not a destination, but a lifelong process, a continuous unfolding of your potential. Ultimately, redefining identity is about becoming more fully yourself. It's about shedding what no longer fits, embracing what brings you joy and meaning, and standing tall in the truth of who you are. It's not about erasing the past, but about using it as a foundation for growth. It's the realization that you are not defined by your struggles, your roles, or your circumstances. You are defined by the choices you make to live authentically, boldly, and unapologetically as the person you were always meant to be. Finding purpose in pain is one of the most profound transformations a person can experience. Pain, in its rawest form, feels senseless and unwelcome force that disrupts our lives, leaving us broken and questioning why we must endure it. But within the depths of pain lies an opportunity to uncover meaning, to transform suffering into strength, and to use our experiences to shape a purpose greater than ourselves. This process is not easy, nor is it immediate, but it is deeply rewarding, offering a pathway from despair to hope. Pain often forces us to confront truths about ourselves and the world that we might otherwise avoid. It strips away illusions, revealing the vulnerability and humanity we all share. While this raw exposure can feel unbearable, it's also a chance to connect with what truly matters. In the quiet aftermath of pain, when the noise of the world fades, we're left with an invitation to listen to our inner voice, a voice that asks not just why we've suffered, but how we can grow from it. Purpose doesn't erase pain, nor does it diminish its impact. Instead, it gives the pain a direction, a way to channel the hurt into something meaningful. It allows us to take control of our narrative, reframing our struggles as chapters of growth, rather than endless cycles of despair. When we find purpose, we reclaim the agency that pain often robs from us, deciding that while we cannot change the past, we can shape what comes next. This transformation begins with acceptance not of the pain itself, but of its presence in our story. Denying pain only deepens its hold on us, but acknowledging it creates space for healing. In that space, we can begin to explore how our experiences might serve as a catalyst for change. Perhaps our pain teaches us resilience, showing us that we are stronger than we ever imagined, or perhaps it deepens our empathy, allowing us to connect with and support others who are struggling. Often, finding purpose in pain means using our experiences to help others. When we share our stories, we create a bridge of understanding, showing others that they are not alone. Pain has a way of isolating us, convincing us that no one else could possibly understand. But in sharing our journey, we offer a lifeline to those who are still navigating their own. Our pain becomes a tool for connection, a way to make a difference in the lives of others. Purpose can also emerge from the lessons pain teaches us. Loss might remind us to cherish what we have, failure might push us to redefine success, and adversity might reveal inner strengths we never knew existed. These lessons, though hard-earned, become the building blocks of a life lived with greater depth, intention, and meaning. Finding purpose in pain doesn't mean we have to turn every struggle into a grand mission. Sometimes, purpose is quiet and personal, a renewed commitment to live authentically, a decision to pursue a dream we once abandoned, or a vow to treat ourselves and others with more kindness. These small acts of purpose can be just as transformative as larger endeavors. It's important to acknowledge that finding purpose in pain is not a linear journey. There will be days when the pain feels overwhelming, when the idea of purpose feels distant or impossible. That's okay. Healing is not about perfection, it's about persistence. The process of finding purpose is not a destination but a continual unfolding, a gradual shift from suffering to meaning, from despair to hope. Ultimately, finding purpose in pain is about recognizing that even in the darkest moments, there is a spark of light, a potential for growth, connection, and transformation. It's about deciding that while pain is a part of life, it doesn't have to define it. Purpose turns pain into a story of resilience, a testament to the strength of the human spirit, and a reminder that even in our hardest moments, we are capable of creating something beautiful from the ashes. Celebrating resilience is about recognizing the quiet, unyielding strength within ourselves and others that carries us through life's most difficult challenges. Resilience is not the absence of struggle or pain. It's the ability to navigate through it, to adapt, and to rise despite the weight of adversity. It's a force that is often overlooked, as it doesn't always manifest in grand gestures or visible triumphs. Instead, resilience is found in the everyday moments of courage, determination, and hope that allow us to keep moving forward. Resilience begins with the decision to face life's hardships head-on. It's the refusal to let setbacks define us or break us, even when the road ahead feels impossibly hard. It's waking up each day and choosing to try again, to hope again, even when the odds seem stacked against us. This ability to persist, to endure, and to rebuild is nothing short of extraordinary and deserves to be celebrated as such. Often, resilience is born out of necessity. Life has a way of presenting us with challenges that we never asked for and may not feel prepared to handle. Yet, in those moments, something remarkable happens. We discover strengths we didn't know we had, and we learn to lean on the resources within us, our grit, creativity, and courage. Resilience teaches us that while we may not have control over what happens to us, we do have control over how we respond. Celebrating resilience means acknowledging the scars we carry and honoring the stories behind them. These scars are not signs of weakness but of survival. They are evidence of the battles we've fought and the strength it took to emerge on the other side. Too often, society glorifies perfection and overlooks the beauty of imperfection. Resilience reminds us that true strength lies in our ability to embrace our struggles as part of our journey, not as something to be hidden or erased. Resilience also speaks to the power of adaptability. Life rarely goes as planned, and the ability to adjust, to find new ways forward, is a hallmark of resilience. It's about being flexible in the face of change, about finding new paths when the old ones are no longer accessible. This adaptability doesn't mean letting go of our dreams, it means finding new ways to pursue them, even when the circumstances are far from ideal. When we celebrate resilience, we also celebrate the support systems that make it possible. Resilience is rarely a solitary endeavor. It's often bolstered by the love of friends and family, the kindness of strangers, and the strength of communities. Acknowledging these connections reminds us that resilience isn't just about individual strength, it's about the bonds that hold us together and give us the courage to keep going. Resilience is not a trait reserved for a select few. It's a capacity that exists within all of us, waiting to be called upon when we need it most. Celebrating resilience means reminding ourselves and others of this truth, that we are all capable of overcoming challenges, of finding light in the darkness, and of rebuilding our lives in the face of loss or failure. This celebration is an act of empowerment. It shifts the narrative from one of victimhood to one of triumph. It allows us to see ourselves not as people defined by our hardships, but as individuals shaped and strengthened by them. It's a reminder that resilience is not about avoiding pain, but about finding purpose and growth through it. Ultimately, celebrating resilience is about honoring the human spirit, the part of us that refuses to give up, that continues to strive for better, and that finds hope even in the hardest times. It's about taking a moment to reflect on how far we've come, to acknowledge the strength it took to get here, and to believe in our ability to continue forward. Resilience is a quiet triumph, a testament to our courage and humanity, and it deserves to be celebrated with the same reverence as any other victory. The journey through life is filled with pain, challenges, and adversity. Yet within these struggles lies the extraordinary potential for transformation, growth, and meaning. From the strength found in vulnerability to the healing power of connection, each hardship we face teaches us resilience and reveals our ability to persevere. By redefining our identity, finding purpose in pain, and celebrating the quiet victories of our endurance, we reclaim our power and recognize the beauty of our humanity. Pain is not an endpoint, but a catalyst for discovering deeper truths about ourselves and the world. It forces us to confront who we are, to shed the narratives that limit us, and to embrace the possibility of becoming more than we ever imagined. Through connection with others and self-reflection, we turn our wounds into wisdom and our struggles into stories of hope. Resilience, adaptability, and the courage to keep moving forward transform our scars into symbols of survival and strength.